Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the FMC Book Club podcast. We are your FMCs. My name is Kim,
Yes, we are. My name is Megan.
and y'all know what FMC stands for, but for this podcast, it means friends missing context because we're dumb as shit.
Always missing that context.
Yes.
Always. But that's why
Yes.
we're here to fill in the holes that we missed and maybe capture some new things.
Yeah, help each other out, That's what friends do.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole point. So we are your FMCs, excited to be here. And in general, we're just two friends who talk books. That's
Yeah.
it. The
Yeah.
whole thing.
First book, Metal Slinger, very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yep.
We got through 10 chapters, so that's what this episode is going to be on. First 10 chapters of the book.
So before we dive in, let's
Hmm.
start with a question of the day.
Amazing.
And we'll just make this a little thing. And so to start us out, how would you define the books that are just like your bread and butter?
Great question.
Thank you.
So I I would say that I am a romance reader through and through. Romantasy,
Hmm.
contemporary romance, those romantic comedies, sport romance.
Hmm.
Love it. As you can imagine, I have a lot of book boyfriends.
Yes. Yes. You will be
You
hearing
know,
about that fairly regularly. We'll
yes,
make sure to capture any updates.
you know all about that, but little book boyfriend obsessed is is essentially,
It's very cute and it's very
yeah,
real. We
yeah.
all have them.
What about you, my friend?
I'm a little bit more of a mix, but I more than anything, fiction.
Hmm.
Fiction's like the main.
Yeah, we don't like
Um,
learning here.
no, no learning. We're not here to better ourselves. We're not here to learn anything. Really, we're looking for lose ourselves in a different world irresponsibly.
Yeah.
So, so I do that through fiction and historical fiction, fantasy. But I could do a romance. I can't say I've read just like a romance in a long time. Just purely romance, normally mixed in with one of the other ones.
Hmm.
But yeah, fiction.
Are you a
Yeah.
science fiction person?
Yeah, I do love a science
Okay,
fiction. Yeah.
that one hasn't worked for me, so I might need some Rex, but
Yeah, I can get a little geeky with it. Like my favorite book when I was younger was Prey by Michael Crichton. And from what I
hmm.
remember of that, it's a book where like little nano robots like become self-aware and like terrorize these people. But I can also do like Lord of the Rings, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I'm slightly nerdy with that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love.
But as you said, Metal Slinger.
Yeah.
Let's start it up with just like how would you, based on, again, because it's just the first 10 chapters,
Hmm.
and I think it's helpful to say out loud that we are doing just the first 10 chapters. We don't know anything else. So those are the only potential spoilers for this if
Yes.
someone hasn't read this. So this is your, I don't know, spoiler warning. But what would you say? How would you describe this book so far, just on the first 10 chapters?
Setting wise, for me, it's kind of hard for me to kind of imagine what the setting is because it is ocean, water, like heavy. And
Yeah,
I guess what kind of pops into my mind is like Avatar, the
yeah, sure, sure, sure.
blue people.
Why did you get blue people for everyone
Because,
at home,
well,
for our millions of fans?
I'm a the last airbender. Like when I think of Avatar, I'm like the last airbender. So
Right, right,
I
right.
had to, give that disclaimer or that description that I'm talking about
So
the
that's what
other.
you had in your head when you picked up the
A
book,
little.
just because it had
No,
the
no,
ocean in it.
no, 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 no. Like
Okay.
that's how I visualize what's going on. Like it reminds me of like a,
Oh,
yeah, like in the
okay.
like
Like
watery.
the aesthetic of
Yes.
it. Okay,
Yes.
okay, got it. Like,
Yeah.
to be clear, for our millions of fans at home, there are no blue people in this book, at least so far.
No, no, no. Just the
No
like, yeah,
bonding using your tail
the setting. Hey, you never know.
and
Not
your
at least not
Ekron.
not the first 10 chapters. So,
Yeah, maybe after. We don't know yet. Okay,
um,
so far Kim understands that it has water in it. She thinks, okay.
wait, but I wanted to ask what you envision. Oh, I
I
guess
think I
we,
need to hear more about yours first.
that's right. Okay. It feels a little YA for the
Yeah,
first 10 chapters of this like cute little friends to lovers potentially
yeah.
story where the FMC is strong, obviously strong and stronger. She's
Nani.
one of the only two women who are in this like guard thing.
Hmm.
And but she's not part of this world or the world that she's actually in. Like we don't know where she's from.
Yeah, they
So
make it clear pretty early that there's like something different about her.
yeah, yeah. So that's kind of it, like the gist of it, I guess.
I would
Anything?
say for me, what happens is I do that thing that they do on social media now in my head where they show you like read the book based on the aesthetic kind of thing. And
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
just have the flashing of different pictures one
Did you
after
look that up?
another. I saw it for
Okay.
Metal Slinger when I was like
Okay.
trying to see what would be good to read. I would describe this as like a YA, very, very easy, but you're consistently interested read. Like from page 5, I was like, okay, I'm in here. And that it's like a water-based world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that there's yeah, and that there's two separate kingdoms, and we're in the one that the perspective is based out of is a kingdom of Alaha, and
Mm-hmm.
this FMC Bryn is pretty early on determined to be someone who is very likely just different than everyone, and that I mean, I guess in terms of like the rest of the plot, like we don't really know. We know basically
Yeah.
the plot is that she's different from everyone for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
and they're on this like guard, and they go out to this market that takes like 3 months to get to
Mm-hmm.
every year, and that's it.
Yeah.
So based on that alone, that sounds extremely unintriguing to read, but but
Yes.
it's good. It's
Yeah.
good, and we'll
It's
tell
good.
you why.
It's easy, and there's a lot of likable characters and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So, should we dive right into it?
Let's go in. Let's do it.
Let's go in.
So this first chapter is setting up some of the main characters
Mm-hmm.
between Kai, Messer, interesting name. I wonder where that came from.
Mm-hmm.
Bryn, and then does it introduce anyone else in it?
Aurora.
Aurora. Okay, I thought maybe
Yeah.
Aurora. And the gist of it is that they're on this ship about to make
Doc.
port,
Mm-hmm.
dock, and go to this market that they've been to they have not been to before, and they
Mm-hmm.
only get to once a year. And it's like kind of a big, not honor, but it's a very rare, sort of coveted occurrence for anyone who wants to get away from Alaha.
I want to talk a little bit about what you think happened between the two, like, I guess, are we going to call them kingdoms?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that.
things.
I like
Okay.
that.
Or Kenta is the other kingdom.
Yes.
Sounds like they overtook Alaha and now they're under their power. So they're submissive to Kenta.
Yeah, I think all I really gathered was something like that there
Yeah.
was a disagreement that led to a, I guess, a battle at some point,
Mm-hmm.
or just that someone was like, well, we're not winning this, and that was clearly Alaha, and Kenta became kind of the overarching power that's like,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna do things the way we tell you you can do things.
I don't know if you noticed this, but Alaha, everyone's blonde,
Yeah, good
right?
point. Yep,
Blonde and white
yep,
is what it feels like. And
it
then
does. I did picture a lot of white people.
yeah, and then Kenta is like dark haired and had like nose rings and things like that. Did you notice
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah,
So
yeah,
that in itself, I'm like, oh, that's like the opposite of like colonization
yeah.
in like the
Yeah,
real life,
if we're
right?
talking real
Like,
world, yeah,
yeah.
it kind of
So
kind of flips things
it's
a little bit,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
real refreshing.
I know.
Needed.
I literally had to go back in the chapter and be like, wait, they're they're the ones that like
Yeah, you're like,
overtook
wait,
them.
wait,
I
you're the
like that.
blondes?
Yeah. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's good. And then I think something else that they made clear really quickly is that, Kai is the blonde hair, gray eyes, MMC of the book, at least as far as we know, 10
Yeah.
chapters in. And that Bryn has red hair.
Mm-hmm. Just
Fantasy loves to have a girl with different hair.
just
Fantasy loves that.
yeah, different from everybody.
If your hair's not different, you're one of everyone else. So just move right along. It's what I've learned in
You're not
fantasy.
the
You're not
FMC.
special. You're not going to be a god. You're not going to have any special powers. You are nobody. Sit down.
uh,
That's what I've learned.
yes.
So, okay, so back to your question though. What do you think happened between Kenta and Alaha?
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
that's one that I've been like waiting for. I mean, and we're going to talk about it in the second chapter, but obviously when they describe like the rest of that kingdom,
Mhm.
they seem there's guards everywhere and things like that. And also like they're obviously land-based and Alaha is not. Like they're on freaking boats all the
Yeah,
time.
so I did pick up on that is
Yeah.
that Kenta won the battle to stay on land, and so they forced Alaha to make their community, their kingdom, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it, live on
On,
the sea.
on the water, yeah.
And that's kind of a form of the punishment, which is like,
Mm,
we will not allow you to live on land with us.
mm-hmm.
And I mean, they make it very clear throughout the whole thing that everyone on the water is like miserable. No one has
Mm-hmm.
been on a like 3-month journey on the ocean and been like, I'm so glad this is the case.
Yeah, smells like shit.
Yeah, they're describing like their barracks or whatever you call
Yeah.
them, and like if
The
you get on, what do they call
mm-hmm.
bathroom duty? They call it like if you get on bathroom duty, it's like
Oh,
called something in this book.
yeah, I forgot.
Real
Yeah.
quick, speaking of what you were talking about with the it's so nice to see that the people with the dark hair are in the like the ruling kingdom, the ones
Yeah.
who won out. I had to chuckle in the best way possible that they brought up cultural sensitivity training in this. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, okay, even in
Gotta,
this fantasy world they're talking about cultural
you know,
sensitivity training.
I need to look up Rachel Schneider, but I don't think she's a person of color. So,
You know what? I've seen her.
yeah.
Still don't know.
Okay.
But at least first
The
glance,
just the
not
name
likely.
doesn't sound quite POC,
Yeah,
but
but could be. But
could be,
yeah,
sure. But no, but I
regularly
appreciate
probably
it.
not.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah. I was like, okay, even in fantasy, we need to understand each other's differences.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, what would you say are like the key happenings? Chapter one.
Key happenings. Kai is introduced as essentially the love interest, the initial
Mm-hmm.
love interest, at least. Very sweet. And you know how much I love a Kai. Shout out
A lot of
Powerless.
Kais. I don't know who decided that Kai was the name. If you're hot in fantasy.
Yeah, but what a sweetheart. Like he clearly loves Bryn and will protect her, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then the end of the chapter ends with him wanting her to be his match. So
Does that happen in chapter one?
yeah, let's chapter because that's why she runs away.
That's all chapter one?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I guess in key summary, then
Yeah.
that whole chapter is just
Yeah.
about them. It's Kai, Messer, Bryn, and Aurora,
Oh yeah.
and Messer and Aurora are, just our
Best friend or
other,
friends.
yeah, friends. Aurora is definitely her own sort of like independent, not really connected, but she hangs out with them.
Hmm.
And then Messer is like the super hot, all the girls want him, but he's the friend of
Hmm.
Bryn and Kai, and they're all getting off the boat to go after this three month journey, right?
Yeah.
Something, it's a number of months, and they are, get off the boat to go to this market. They go to the market. They are Kai and Bryn are dancing, and I can't believe this is all chapter one.
This is chapter one. And they did introduce the rule of boundaries. So do you
Yes, the rule of
remember she was
boundaries.
very hesitant to dance with him
Yes.
because you're not allowed to touch the opposite sex. Have
Yep.
any sort of intimate connection,
No touchy.
contact.
No touchy.
Which do you feel like there's any significance to that?
Maybe it's just trying to sort of convey the picture of the like rigidness of their
Mm,
roles, and maybe the sort of outdated nature of the kingdom as a whole.
mm-hmm.
It's very sort of like hardened, and it's not about love, like your match.
Mm-hmm.
because they have said that marriages are of convenience or of negotiation. And so, if
Old
anything,
school.
that's the only thing I can think so far that there's
Fair.
significance to it. But in terms of like the what happened is that they're dancing, they can't touch, and he tells her, I forget what words he uses,
I'll
but
protect
says,
you,
"I'll protect
essentially.
you."
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, and I mean, Commander's son has a lot of sway.
He
So,
does get extra coins, gave her
yeah.
extra coins to take to the
Yeah.
market.
And he's honestly the one instigating all of it. So,
Yeah. Well, I will say I have potentially a controversial take on Kai.
go ahead.
I
Do you
don't
want to say it
know.
now? Or is it later?
I
Is it more probably later?
I will what I will share now is
Yeah.
that in the first 10 chapters, I've only read through chapter 10. My impression is that he puts her in situations that I don't know that I would appreciate. So they make it a
Mm.
point of pointing out that Bryn says, I've been waiting my whole life to come to this market. And he decides on the day that I'm here to tell me he wants me to be his
Mm.
match. There's a little part of her that's like, how selfish of you is the impression that I'm getting. But she's not quite mad, right? She doesn't
Yeah.
express that at any point,
Yeah.
but she does definitely think like, wow, this is today,
Yeah.
you know? And there are other things that happen in future chapters that I'll come back to for me reinforce this concept that I'm getting of Kai, which I think just summarizing myself, it's he doesn't make decisions for her.
Mm.
I do think he genuinely cares about her, at least at this point. I don't know, I'm preparing for like
Yeah.
but I think that he doesn't necessarily act like a partner to her. He acts to protect her. He doesn't really like fuel her power, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Like her
Mm-hmm.
just personal power. Does
Okay.
that click for you at all? Like, do you
It
kind of get what I'm saying?
no, I totally do. The only thing I would argue is that I feel like he is a huge cheerleader for her.
Yes,
Believes that she's just amazing and all those things. But
totally.
I think I do agree with the fact that he doesn't like make her better. Rather, he just really appreciates like who she is.
Yeah. And I think sometimes he inadvertently steps on her
Sure,
toes.
sure.
And
I
it's
can see
like
that.
maybe that would have been a good moment to let her speak first, kind of
Yeah.
thing, or at least
Yeah.
talk to her first. There will be moments, and it'll be made clear that I don't, as of right now, I don't think he's a bad guy or anything like
No.
that. But I do think that, yeah,
Yeah. What do you think their
something.
ages are? Did they talk about ages? I don't remember exactly.
I think they're like 17.
I was gonna say 18-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think this is like their form of high school,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Very young, which I will say, I would love to
Mm-hmm.
find a book where you don't have to like just barely have gotten out of puberty to be like a superhero. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I agree.
Like, I know I've seen those memes that are like, why aren't there any 30-year-old FMCs in fantasy? And then they like
Yeah.
crack their back
Oh
or
my
something.
God.
But come on, we've got women who are Olympic athletes who
Yeah.
are well into their 30s. So
Yeah.
could
Have
we
you
not put it in a fictional world? Is that so unbelievable?
have you seen that TikTok where it's like female FMCs and it's like this person like doing all the fighting and da 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 da. And
Yeah.
then it switches to or female FMCs who are 18 and they're the ones doing all the fighting. And then
Yeah,
it
yeah,
switches to anyone in their 30s and it's just like with their back like thrown out and like that does kind of make sense. Like I
It does.
remember
I don't stand up as quickly as I used to.
right.
It's
My
there's
neck
a little like, ugh.
cricks a lot even after just sleeping. So
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm not saying I don't get it, but I'm saying I'm offended that there's no version of a
I
fantasy world
agree.
where someone could,
We'll have to
you
find
know,
one. If there are any Rex out there, let us
hopefully we do.
know.
Yeah, we
Well,
would
that was
love to.
great. That was chapter one.
So, I mean, I guess the way that it ends is he says that and then she pushes him away, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pushes him away, runs,
She runs.
books it to
It's
the
like
market.
slightly dramatic.
And I think we learned it in this chapter. No, we don't. No, we don't. I won't say it. Because because it was kind of a surprise for me. What chapter did that happen?
Well, you can say it. We can
Well,
take it out if you
okay.
need to.
Yeah, but they've kissed. Like they kiss a lot
Yeah,
apparently.
that was my question. That's why I hesitated. I was like, she pushes him away.
Right. And
It was like,
when
didn't he try to kiss her or kiss her and then she pushed him?
I forget if they kissed in this first episode, but or first chapter, but later on when she says that they've kissed a lot, I'm like, okay,
Yeah, she said that they've like always stolen
what?
kisses from each other or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
like why are you running? Like that makes that scene very dramatic. Because
Yeah, let's peek at this. You come here, Kindle. Help us out. So, I'm looking at the end of chapter 1 to see.
oh, if they kissed.
Yeah. No, they don't. She just
That's
pushes him.
yeah, I think that's why I was super surprised when she said that they've kissed a lot. I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Another thought that I'm having as we're talking this through, like this exact moment, is we're gonna have a little subsection. Be like, how would this scene have been different if it was a mature non-17-year-old woman?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because not her fault that she was put in this situation by Kai. But I'm trying to imagine myself in that scenario.
Right.
I just shove him in the chest and run into the market.
Right.
That screams 17, which
Right.
makes sense. Good
Yeah.
good writing if that's the case,
Yeah.
right? But it doesn't make necessarily the most sense to me because I would probably say something.
Yeah.
I would say something to maybe the effect of I'm gonna go.
Yeah. To friggin' run into a market that you've never been to before,
Yeah.
knowing the rules that you're supposed to stay in at least groups of two, no more than four. Anyways,
Well, to your point too, the piece around like us being told that they've like stolen kisses from each other before, that did surprise me, but it also in a weird way kind of fit too. Then I guess it to me it shouldn't have seemed so surprising that he would maybe have wanted to match with her
hmm
despite the fact that she's quote unquote a nobody. Like
yeah,
makes it a point in the book to say what she has no family, no like what do they call it? Rank,
no
you know.
position. Yeah.
So like I get it,
Yeah.
but okay, I'm just gonna move past the just shoving him in the chest and running off into the market.
Yeah. Makes for a good story, that's for sure.
It does, it does. Well, chapter 2.
Chapter 2. It's the market.
It's the market.
Yeah. So she runs away, gets in trouble. Oh, not even anything, because she is literally just looking through the market, having a grand
Yes.
old time by herself, and then all of a sudden gets accused of stealing and gets in a whole bunch of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Um, touches a stone, a wall, and
What?
the pain, the
Yes,
pain.
yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so yes, she's strolling through the vendors, and as she's strolling through the vendors, she
hmm
stops at a stall, and that stall has really beautiful stones or gems or something like
hmm
that.
hmm
And she's just looking at them, and then what they call them, a Kenta guard or Imperial guard, whatever they're calling them,
hmm
comes over and like grabs her hand and calls her a thief, and then turns her hand over, and it has a gem or whatever stone in it that was from that vendor. And she says, "Will you put that in my hand?"
hmm
And then he threatens to cut off her finger or her hand. And then yes, to your point, I was like, what she touches, what does she touch?
Yeah.
That he
Puts her
is
hand.
puts her hand somewhere to take her finger or her hand from her for being a thief. Feels a searing pain. She described it as like if an eel stung, like electrocuted you, but like by 1,000.
Yeah. It's like a live current, similar to the electric eels found in the coral outside of Alaha, but times a
Yeah.
thousand. Yeah. So this wall
Hmm.
hurting her.
And so she was in searing pain and then
Mm-hmm.
looks down, sees her hand is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guard's eyes also get very, very big. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe let's just pause there. What do
Yeah.
you make of this at this point?
One of the big things that I took note of, and you should see my note. It begins in the beginning of the chapter where she's describing this soldier or whatever you want to call him, and she describes him as beautiful.
Mhm.
That one just like threw red flags in my head and was just like, oh, he's gonna be another love interest. Because why would she
Yeah.
call anyone beautiful? And later
Yeah.
she calls him handsome.
So little like,
Yeah,
hmm.
yeah. Inherently vulgar in his beauty is what the quote is.
Yeah. And my question is, and this is because I read these chapters a couple weeks ago. So we've been like prepping to
Hmm.
do this. And so the guard who calls her a thief and tries to, is that the same as the guard or the guy that has been eyeing her from across the market the whole day?
I believe so.
Okay. I
Did
didn't
you
know
get
if they were actually separate.
did you get something different?
In my little brain that was trying to latch onto the book very quickly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
We're missing
okay.
context.
Yeah. Cause okay, so here's my can we get into overall theory of just like why what that is?
Yeah, we can, because essentially what you're saying, real quick, is that
Yeah.
your impression is that the same guy that tried to cut off her
Yes.
hand is the same guy that she calls beautiful, that
Yes.
she catches her a couple times in
Yes.
chapters 1 and 2, looking
Mm-hmm.
at her across the way, describes his gorgeous dark hair and his
Mm-hmm.
he has like a gold like
Nose ring, I think.
nose ring. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So you're saying they're one and the same.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I think and I mean that's how I read it, first of all. But also the theory is that obviously something is drawing him to her. Don't know what it is
Hmm.
just yet. But I think he knows what that is. And so obviously him following her, trying to get her in trouble, if that I don't know if touching the wall was like a consequence of that. So he was like trying something, knowing that it would
Hmm.
impact her in some way. And then her getting in trouble would
Yeah.
keep her there or something. And now he has her.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what my theory is of why he specifically did all that.
Yeah, so your sense is that he either, the moment she got off the boat, was like, I know who this is for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, whatever her connection is to him or what he wants, um, is that he knew it from the get-go, that he
Mm-hmm.
was going to try to find a way to maybe keep her there,
Yeah.
get her away from the people of Alaha, and concocted that specifically to keep her there. If that's the case, I was he testing something with the stone? Did he know that when he was going to quote unquote cut her hand off, did he know that it wasn't going to work and it just confirmed it? And so then he was
Mm-hmm.
like, I was right, or did he expect it to work? And
Yeah.
I don't know. It could go a bunch of different ways, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do agree with the overall theory
Mm-hmm.
that this was an intentional. It wasn't just, I mean, the alternative, he's just some dick who who just wanted
Wanted
to
her in
trap her
trouble.
as a thief and cut her
Yeah.
hand off.
Yeah.
Like, that's the alternative. So
Yeah. But the descriptions were very like, no, he's not. He can't be a bad guy. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
too.
You can't be that pretty.
You can't be that pretty. You can't be that drawn.
Yeah,
He can't be that drawn to you
yeah,
for it to not be a
yeah.
something else.
Something else. I'm with that. I mean, I guess the rest of the chapter is, the fact that basically chaos erupts after this
Hmm.
happens
Yeah.
because Kai, Messer, and Aurora end up stepping in to get back to the boat safely. And it ends up with Aurora.
Ex
What did she?
yeah, an explosion of some sort. I don't
She
know what she
created
did. Hmm.
Yeah, she created an explosion that basically dismantled the market. Like, people were falling into the water. And
Hmm.
so it ended with them, right? And that way, where they were just basically sailing away from the chaos they just
Yeah.
made.
But the big thing is that she had the dagger in her hand
Yes.
when she left or when she
So
got back
remind
from.
remind me how that ended up happening. So where did the dagger first show up, and how did it end up being in her hands?
That's a great question. I can't remember exactly, but there was like a fight between her and the guard, and she like cut him at the legs. somehow. So I
Hmm.
believe it was his dagger.
I do remember she took it.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
she kind of made that like I don't know. I remember a moment of hesitation.
And at this point, I don't know what the significance of having that dagger is, right? Like, obviously, it could
Hmm.
be okay within the explosion, like she wasn't paying attention and she just took it with her.
Right.
Or was it meant to be hers? Either way, she was like, she's freaking out because, oh, she actually is a thief.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Oopsies. I is thief. Yeah, so she does end up with that dagger and they end up sailing away. Is that in fact the end of
Hmm.
that chapter?
But yeah, that's the end of chapter 2.
Chapter 3. So what happens in this one?
She's in trouble, is the
She's in
gist of it.
Trubs. They're
She's in
back
trouble.
on the boat. There was a part of this chapter that was just kind of getting to the relationship between them and the other people on the boat. Isn't this the one where there's the whole bit around
The prank
the
thing.
trolling and the
Yeah,
pranks
yeah,
and the cockroaches in
yeah.
the bed
No,
and
you're right. That's the thing with the commander doesn't happen in this chapter. But yes, it's pretty much just like what are the interpersonal relationships between them and the other people on the boat, other
yeah,
crew.
we're introduced to Lawson, who's not like a big part at all in any way
Mm-mm.
beyond, but it's just someone else that they actually like,
Mm-hmm.
um, but doesn't appear to be any sort of key character.
They don't
Um,
like Paul.
they do not like Paul. Paul,
Paul's a little
Paul's,
bitch.
yeah, Paul's little
He put the
butt.
rat in her bed.
Yes. So Paul puts a rat in her bed. Is it just because he's an ass, or is
He's an ass, and she caused
he's
the
mad
whole
about
market
the
thing. Yeah.
yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I guess the whole thing with the then what ends up happening is Messer put cockroaches in Paul's bed as retaliation.
Yep.
So then everyone thought that it was clearly Bryn, but then I mean, obviously it wasn't.
Messer is a great friend. That's the note I put in my book.
Yeah. You know what I need Messer to not be? I need him to not be a Liam.
Don't die.
Don't die.
Don't
Don't make
die.
me fall in love with you and then die.
Don't
Don't.
die, friend.
Because right now he's a little too
Funny.
perfect of a character.
Yeah. A little fun. A little slutty.
Fun. Yeah. He's a little hoe bag, but
A
everyone knows it,
little hoey, but good friend.
Really good friend.
No, I feel you. They do talk about Aurora a little bit and how
Hmm.
she believes it's time to make a stand against Kenta to
Hmm.
challenge the current agreement. So,
And they think that this was a little bit of her capitalizing on
mhm.
a moment and opportunity to express her feelings about that
Yeah, so she's a little
by explosion.
mysterious. Yeah, gotta go big.
Again, most of us in this are 17 years old. I repeat, 17 years old.
Appreciate that. But I
Yeah.
also wonder how she pulled that off. They never talked about that.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, and she set fire to it. Oh.
Yeah, she had a bomb of some sort. But yeah, no, that's
Then,
kind of it.
yeah, that's it. We're introduced. Is that when we're introduced to Captain Wren?
We were introduced to Gramble in chapter 1. He's
Hmm.
the one that trains them and tells them all that stuff. But I don't think we haven't met Ren yet.
There is another part of this chapter
Hmm.
where my feelings about Kai, like,
Okay.
they come out again.
Okay.
And that's because he's doing a kind thing, which is he wants to go and protect her because of this whole rat in the bed thing. And I believe the leadership on the boat thinks she did it in retaliation. So then that's why she gets basically punished for it. But he's like, no, I will go tell them like that, or like he's trying to say, no, let me protect you. This wasn't
Yeah.
your fault.
Yeah.
And she's annoyed because she's like, I need to be respected on this boat. And
Mm.
I can't be respected on this boat if you are just fighting my battles for me. So she wants to fight her own battles. And he knows she's strong. He knows she's capable, but he also really wants to protect her. And that's why I feel like
Mm.
he's stepping on her toes sometimes.
Okay, the more you say that, it sounds like Dane. Right?
I
Is he
was
giving
just
Dane
about to say
vibes?
this, giving little Atos vibes.
Okay, and not redemption Dane vibes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, once it looped around for Dane, anyone who has not read Fourth Wing, shut off your audio.
We'll put spoilers.
I will raise my hand in the air when it is safe. But but it's a little Dane. Eventually people came around to liking Dane because they were
Mhm.
like, Dane just trusted his dad, and
Mhm.
Dane just loved her and wanted to keep her safe. And it's
Mhm.
not that he actually didn't think that she could, he was just really scared for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm just getting a little bit of
Ooh,
those
okay.
where he's like, I love you. And this doesn't necessarily mean he's bad, doesn't
Mhm.
mean anything. It
Yeah.
just means that it's a little annoying. She's like, let me fight my battles.
Mm.
Like, maybe don't tell me when we're at the market that you want to make me your match. Like,
Mhm.
just whew, like
Yeah.
let me be.
I see that. That's it for that chapter, I think.
Okay, so they do. I remembered seeing Ren's name in this chapter, but Ren does. They're just talking about what their
Going to say.
punishment will likely be for
Mhm.
both, like for mostly for the toppling of the market that was their
Mhm.
fault.
Okay. Chapter 4.
Yeah,
What's our overarching summary?
I think ultimately this is a chapter where they've, Messer, Aurora, Kai, Bryn, they all go in front of Captain, because I guess it's not a kingdom, it's like a subsection. It's not like King Ren, it's Captain Ren, who
Mhm.
is Kai's dad. And they show up. We see like Kai and Mommy Kai have like a very close relationship, and that they basically go and talk about what happened with him.
Yeah.
And he looks like Captain Ren wants to defend Bryn a little bit. Kenta wants her head,
Mhm.
and
A head.
because a head, they do want a head. Um,
Whoever was responsible. Yeah.
Whoever's responsible, and they're trying to figure out really what happened. Aurora is clearly hates Kenta, probably did this on purpose. She goes to the brig,
Mhm.
and Messer Kai and Bran are just chatting, and then Ren's like, why was she even alone? And
Mhm.
then here's the moment where Kai decides to blurt out loud, he asked Bryn to marry him or to be his match, whatever. And then they basically in the chapter was saying like, okay, well, Kenta wants someone. So it ends up being like, okay, I can either hand myself over to Kenta or I can agree to be Kai's match.
I think there's an obvious choice here.
I mean, death, twist my arm.
That's essentially it. They're obviously in trouble with Kenta. They want them to try to figure out what happened and essentially punishing Alaha by not allowing them to trade with them for 2 years instead of the yearly
Mhm.
trade at the market. So,
And they're going to try to starve him out.
yeah. So their plan is to stock up.
Stock up, guys. It's going to be a
Stock up on
long
food.
road.
Mm-hmm.
That's the gist of it. But I think you could tell from the way my only real thought is Messer's adorable and that Kai's a little butthead because I get that it was a moment where it was like, but come on, Kai, it's your dad. It's your dad. You could have withheld for a second just to give Bryn the heads up. I'm probably gonna have to let them know that I asked you to be my match because I want you to be my match, and I think it was a little bit necessary.
You don't think it's romantic?
It's toxic. It's toxic. It's toxic.
He's loving her out loud.
He is, but he's also forcing her hand because
It's true.
now she has to in front of not only like her leader, but his dad.
But if you think about it, what other options does she have? Like, who's a better option than Kai?
I guess I just don't think it's really about that. I think it's that if he knows Bryn well enough, it just feels like he loves Bryn. It doesn't feel like he gets her. It feels
That's
like he's like, well, we're best friends and we've stolen kisses and like this is what our life is. And so like I want you to be my match.
that's fair, but isn't that what the match ceremony is? Like, it's not about love. It's about
Yeah. But then which one is it for Kai? Is it love or is it match?
right. But
Feels
also,
like we're
is he
playing in both fields here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's doing Bryn a favor because he knows, and maybe she knows too, but is there anyone better than Kai for her? No, because she doesn't have a dowry. She doesn't have, you know what I mean?
As of now.
As of now. Yeah, we don't know. Where did she come from?
As of
Anything else, chapter 4?
No.
Chapter 5.
Chapter 5. So basically, we're just talking about marriage here.
We are.
Talking
We
about a match. And they
Yep.
talk all, well, will you consider being my match? And she's like, well, if you don't hand me over, because it's really my fault, like kids are gonna go hungry, our kingdom, whatever you're gonna call it, is going
Mhm.
to suffer. People might die. What are you gonna do then? And he's like, we'll figure something out. She goes, what if you don't? He goes, we'll figure something out. Then they get to chimney and
Yeah. He is very persistent, which is there an underlying reason why he's so persistent?
yeah,
Maybe.
I think it's fair to think about because the whole time I was reading this was like, I get Bryn. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm flipping awesome,
Yeah.
but do I think that it's kind of not cute to me that you're so willing to not think of the things that will happen. It's like you're pretending they won't happen.
Mm,
And it just doesn't feel logical, like you've thought this through. And I get it, the romance, but
yeah.
it's just not doing it for me. I don't. So right now, I don't think he's a bad guy, but like you said, maybe there's alternative read it. Like he's got another agenda.
At this point, I'm still very much Kai's so cute. He's so
He's so
sweet.
cute.
He loves her. And this chapter we learn about the kissing, which again, very surprising. I'm like, okay, she calls him her friend like all throughout, like loves him as a friend, da 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 da.
Yeah.
But they've been sneaking kisses for years. What? We're not talking peck on the lips. We're talking about noise escapes my throat of its own
And
volition.
a nice little snog.
Yeah, snogging for years. So,
And
her best
this one
friend.
ends with kisses.
Yeah, and she likes it.
Yeah, with a real nice yes, yes, yes. But I mean that's the gist of this. They're just worried about what's gonna happen. He's like, be my match. If you're my match, what can happen to you?
Yeah.
But I still have questions about that. It's like why does that automatically just solve it? Chapter 6.
Chapter 6. All right. So what happened?
I can't wait for your impressions on the ending of this chapter. So we have they need a commander for the class,
Mm-hmm.
and Messer is basically nominated as being the best fighter.
Yeah, because
He
they
retort
went through a few like fights amongst themselves, and then
Yeah,
Messer was the winner.
yeah. And he then says, I don't consider myself to be basically worthy of that title until I beat someone who has beat me before. And
Mm-hmm.
apparently Bryn has beaten him before.
Yeah, the next best fighter in their
Yes,
class,
yes.
which is high
And
praise. High praise, FMC.
so he agrees to, I think she needed a rest, and then she was like, no, I'm gonna be fine. And they go ahead and fight. Kai offers up his weapon, which
Mm-hmm.
apparently among these crews is like the ultimate form of like your weapon is yourself. Is
Yeah.
the most precious thing that you own.
Mm-hmm.
And he offers that up in front of everyone. Cue Kim smile.
How sweet.
How sweet.
How sweet of him. And they fight,
And
and Bran's really good.
she does really well. She
Yeah.
ultimately ends up losing. And at the end, she gets a sweet, sweet, sweet little snog from Kai
Yeah.
in front of everyone.
In front of everyone, which is
How do we feel about that, Kim? How do we
a
feel?
big no-no. It's funny because I literally wrote LOL when she said it'll be worth it. And then the next chapter starts with it was not worth
It
it.
was not worth it.
But she does like kissing him,
She does. She enjoys
and
that.
Kai loves getting them in trouble, expressing
And
his
Kai,
love.
you know, we love a man who's proud of the woman that he wants, but I also, this could be interpreted based on my other experiences of Kai, could be interpreted as Kind of like peeing on your territory a little bit. Could be a little bit of that. Could be a little
Show,
love bombing. A little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
It's interesting.
She,
Same coin, two different sides,
yeah,
depending on what his motives are.
yep. Love
That's
Messer, by the way.
love Messer.
Love Messer.
He's just a little cutie patootie.
Mm-hmm. And the
Would
respect he has for
only,
Bryn,
yeah,
cute.
would only ever be friends with Messer.
Who?
I would.
Oh, why? Oh, because he's a man whore?
Yeah. That's the guy you want to be your friend.
True,
He's
true.
also the one that if you do anything more with them, he's just gonna drag you along while being his adorable self, and your heart's gonna be broken.
I think he's gonna grow up in this book and find someone he loves.
Well, we did also miss in a previous chapter that Aurora was kind of being a little bit of a jerk and led
Mm-hmm. Bryn.
Bryn to
Mm-hmm.
find Messer with the boat captain,
Someone's daughter.
someone's daughter.
Is it Gramble's daughter? No.
I think
Something like,
it might be.
yeah, someone's daughter.
We'll get our facts straight in future episodes. But for now,
This is the FMC podcast,
yeah,
so we're missing
we're
context.
fill it in for us.
Yeah.
Fill it in the comments. Tell us what we've missed, gotten wrong. That's part
This
of the
is
fun.
this is why we're
We
doing
read for
this.
fun
Yeah. We're gonna miss stuff for
a
sure.
lot. Probably already have. Um, but um, but yeah, in this we really like he don't care.
You
He's
don't care.
such a little hoe bag, but he's so endearing if he's your
Yeah.
friend.
Best
So
friend.
I'm pro being best friends with Messer. Nothing else ever.
That's chapter 6.
Chapter 7.
So this chapter,
They go to the brig, but then they have breakfast.
so important.
So important. They
Breakfast
got to
is
have breakfast together.
They did. We got boats disappearing, which is not common. So something's happening where people are missing.
Yep, good catch.
And then we got Bryn drawing what she remembers. And she's finally drawing the Kenta guy.
She's drawing the soldier, multiple renditions.
Mm-hmm.
Can't repeat the blackness of his eyes.
And then,
And then oh,
yeah,
go.
nope, here we go.
I have the talking soap.
Talking stick.
New girl reference. So yeah, so then basically Bryn's drawing and then she hears a noise and she realizes that there is a boat on the horizon and there's a smaller one coming in and she runs over, quickly says, Kai, what's going on? Kai says, you can't be here. She's like, I'm gonna go hide over there, wherever over there is. And she's hiding in like sort of a very like not easy to spot place. And then she notices basically like a dingy small boat is rolling in and she connects immediately. Soldier just looks over, looks her in the eye, and she realizes it's the same soldier as the one that tried to cut off her hand.
He's back.
He's back and he's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
Again with the beauty description.
I know. Sounds enchanting.
Yeah.
And then he gets up onto the dock, is talking to Kai and Captain Ren. And then, for reasons we don't know, Kai punches him across the face.
Probably talking about Bryn.
Probably.
Probably about
And,
things.
but isn't entirely clear. I
Yeah.
think there might be something there. Punches him, they arrest him, the end.
Yeah, so this one's interesting just because of the eye contact. Like, she's obviously hidden in the dark
Mm-hmm.
and is immediately able to make eye contact with her, like
Yeah.
he was drawn to her. So
Yeah.
it goes back to my, like, are they, like, the fated mates, like, trope? Like, are they meant to be
Yeah.
together?
Or they belong to like the same people. Or that is why she's different than everyone else because she actually belongs somewhere else. And he knows that because of whatever their people have in common.
I feel like she's still so different in terms of, like, her description that she can't be a Kenta. Do you feel like
Yeah,
she
she's
he yeah. I don't
no,
get the vibe that she's a Kent like, she's part of that Kenta tribe.
no,
So,
great point. Based on that, like they can't, but based on the information we have now, yeah, it's far more likely that there's some sort of other bond between
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But I'm not leaving out other possibilities. There might
Yeah.
be some other sort of connection between them that maybe isn't just romantic
Sure.
or like some sort of meant to be. Might be, but I'm leaving room.
Yeah. At this point, I think it's a fated mates thing. Like they're meant to be
Yeah,
together. Especially
yeah.
like again, going back to the beauty and stuff like that.
Well, the only reason that I think that maybe the door is open for something else is because of what ends up happening with this whole dagger situation. There's something there and it's coming
Sure.
quick, so I don't
Sure.
want to spoil it, but I will come
Yeah.
back to that.
And also I think it's important to note that she assumed or thinks that he has come all the way back here because of that dagger.
Now
So,
she's worried about it.
yeah, now she has to get rid of it.
The
That's kind
end.
of it. Chapter 7. Chapter 8.
Basically, we find out a couple of things. We find out that Messer has been being beaten by
Mhm.
his dad. We find out that, well, we don't find out, but Bryn admits to Messer that she's been keeping the dagger. He says, get rid of it.
Mhm.
And then we also find out that the prisoner wants to speak with Bryn. And then Kai comes to get her, laces fingers with her, takes her in, and just tries to warn her like he's going to try to manipulate you, use your emotions against you, but I'll be right there with you. And the gist of that conversation, there's a couple interesting things in there, but um, yeah, anything else to add?
No, good summary.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what stuck out?
I mean, she's got a thing for this dagger. I mean, you don't keep something that could like people find it and they go, yeah, you are a thief.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
We also though we didn't I think we missed this detail, but when she finds that there's a J on the handle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we did miss that.
So a J.
Yeah, and she really doesn't want to get rid of it. The only other thing that stands out to me is, in the conversation that she has with this prisoner whose name we don't know yet at this point, right?
No, still soldier guy. Yeah.
Still soldier man, soldier boy, tell him.
Such a pro.
And he basically apologized for the pain that he caused her that day. And she says it's not that bad. I mean, she said, no, it's actually really terrible. We might as well have taken my hand off because it was awful.
Hmm.
And he goes, or, it can't be as bad as what's in stock for you here. So we've got this big, like looming, what is he talking about going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. Are the Allaha the bad guys? Are they the bad?
Yeah. What are the bad guys? I think they're the
Yeah.
bad guys. I think
Yeah.
they're the bad guys. So, and I again stick it like going back to your original theory of, did he do this intentionally to her at the market to get her to be quote unquote safe or save her from something?
Hmm.
Um, and then to mine with Kai, never enjoyed his gestures. Like, I'm sorry, he's behind bars. Would you mind like letting go of my hand and treating me
Mm.
like an adult instead of a child?
Yeah. Lace
Like
his
I'm a guard.
fingers
I'm a
to go
guard
in there.
too, bitch.
Yeah.
Also, people said that I was the one that needed to fight Messer because he was in line to be commander. I'm a pretty
Hmm.
dang good fighter. So stop babysitting me. Stop.
The other thing that I noted, and this was just funny to me, but that he smelled her scent when he came in when he went into the
Yeah. Yeah.
cr- yeah, that to me is again like a fated mates like
Yeah.
Akatar. I know you haven't read Akatar, but that
Yeah.
shit happens. I think he's a love interest. That's my theory.
It's the pheromones. The
Mm-hmm.
pheromones.
Mm-hmm.
Final answer.
But yeah,
I think that's
so
it for 8. And then she leaves.
yeah. Yep.
But clearly you can tell she feels this sort of like connection or pull to him.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
We're getting
Chapter
there.
9.
Next chapter. Okay, so chapter nine's kind of fun
Yeah.
because we learn about this mysterious man.
And it opens a lot of doors
Yeah.
to him. So I don't know. What would you say are takeaways here?
Takeaways. Well, one, she's drawn to him. Like she needs to go talk to him by herself. So she
Hmm.
makes that trek. And he can sense her coming. So weird,
Little
right? Because
Blondie.
yeah, because supposed to be sleeping, chained against a wall, and then his eyes open, and he is able to find her instantly. Which again, creepy, weird. But other than that, let's see. Their conversation is we finally know his name, Acker. We talk about oaths. So he has some oaths, where he can't tell her anything
Hmm.
unless she asks the right question.
It's
So a
using
little,
soil and blood.
yeah. So to make a this oath that you die, essentially, right? If
Yeah.
you
You
if
just
you
fall
break it,
over.
yeah, you need blood and dirt, which they have very little of.
And we don't know the exact deal, but
Hmm.
can't tell her anything that unless she asks the right question and can kind of respond, maybe not directly, but we learn a lot of really interesting information from it. And he does a lot of questioning of like her,
Hmm.
a lot of questioning of her parents,
Hmm.
of Kai.
And a little bit about what he wants with her. So,
And we find out that he says, "What are you doing here?" It's like,
yeah.
"I'm here for you."
Okay, well,
And it ends with her dropping the dagger in the
yes, it
ocean.
does. It does. Where to start, man? Well,
I mean,
let's talk about Bryn. So, where she comes from. We learn about her parents are fishermen, took her out on expeditions, and all we know is that after not returning back from a trip, the search party found her alone in the boat, not knowing where her
yes.
parents are. They disappeared,
Hmm.
perpetuating the giant squid folklore, which we have not yet touched upon.
Apparently, it's gonna be something
Yeah.
somewhere. This whole conversation got me thinking about a lot of things. One of my first notes from chapter 1 was that Kai stayed back a year
Mm-hmm.
so that he could go to the market with her, with Bryn, so that
Mm-hmm.
he could graduate with her. And so, along with this conversation, that led me to have even more doubts in Kai and his family because they took her in. You know, he's always at her side, he's always babysitting her, really trying to like make her feel so loved
Mm-hmm.
in a way that to me feels strategic. And it was really just really fun to see to see Acker mock her relationship with him. She's
Yeah.
like, well, he's my best friend. That's not
Well,
how I describe the love of my life.
right, right. And he's so romantic because his
Yeah,
description of his person was just about her beautiful eyes,
every
lost in
detail,
memory.
flecks of, you know, gold and little hairs falling across her
Yeah.
face, like just
Yeah.
poetry.
And then he says, uh, well, Bryn says she must be worried about you. And he says, I worry about her. I worry more about her, I assure you. And I'm like, okay, is he talking about her? Could he be talking about Bryn?
Ooh, I like that.
Because he hasn't known where she's been or like
Yeah,
what,
I forget.
what's happening to
Is
her.
is
Yeah.
his description at all close to her? Because I remember it being somewhat vague.
It was very vague. All he talked about were eyes. Beautiful eyes.
Yeah,
And
and
they're brown and green and amber, like the color of every season. I have looked everywhere for eyes like hers, and nothing has ever been able to compare. And so it makes me
ooh,
wonder
that gave me the little goosey bumpies.
yeah, super
I hate the way
romantic.
I said that, but it just came out that way.
No, for sure. And the fact that she's been gone and like maybe they've known each other in like a when they were little or something
Yeah,
and now she's been gone for a long time and he's never been able to see those eyes.
Kim, if you're right about this, chef's kiss. Let's buy you a present. If you're wrong, we're really seeing
I know. Well,
we're really seeing what men in this world are up against in
yeah.
terms of what needs to happen to
Well,
win your heart.
in Worlds of Kai's, because
Yes.
you've totally turned me on Kai right now.
I know, I'm sorry. This Kai, powerless Kai,
Powerless Kai is
very, very
forever.
high
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
kitten boyfriend
yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, you've turned me. So now it's
I'm
all Acker, man.
I mean, once you've seen a man behave that way,
Yeah.
you kind of just tend to
Don't be fooled by the love bombing.
don't fall for it.
Don't be gaslit
Don't be
into
fooled by the
yeah.
rocks that I got. That's really then she at the end of that chapter drops the dagger into the ocean.
Yeah. But also, oh, I guess he did ask her about her parents, like, oh, what happened to your parents? They're
Hmm.
dead. Did
Yeah,
you see
like did you?
bodies?
Yeah.
No. Oh,
Ooh,
could they be alive?
things are about to really pop off. You can just
Pop
tell.
off. And so we've made it to chapter 10. Okay, last chapter of the episode.
Last go of it.
Yeah, what do we got?
So in this one, basically they are getting ready for their big dinner. We find out that Messer has been matched to Aurora. That feels strategic.
Hmm.
Um, we also find out that the ship that was out on the horizon that brought our prisoner to us is gone. They immediately canceled dinner because this storm is also rolling in. So I don't know if it was the ship or the storm or both, where they panicked, were like dinner's off, grab food, grab supplies, go, go,
Yeah.
go. And then Bryn thinks of the prisoner and she's goes to rescue him.
Yeah. Yep.
Where do we want to start?
Well, I don't know. Messer? Back to poor
Yeah.
Messer. He is, yes, unfortunately matched with Aurora, who is probably not his first choice, but he
It's
does
like,
say literally anything to get out of his parents' house. And that includes his mom. I think
I
she's
love that sweet little
yeah,
baby.
compliant to all that abuse. So a huge storm is coming. Everyone's taking precautions. Boat is gone, and so the plan is to leave the prisoner in his little dungeon to and
Yeah.
not save him. Essentially, it's
Yeah.
gonna
Like
flood with water and he'll drown. So
Bryn takes it upon herself. She goes and goes basically straight to him.
yeah,
And I mean, the cool thing that we learned a lot of cool things here
yeah.
as they're both basically drowning as she's trying to save him. And at one point, he is really just thoughtful. He's just like
I
basically
put
like, let me go.
yeah, I put selfless
Yeah.
because he literally told her, basically she tells him like, tell me why I should help you.
Yeah.
And he said that I'm not gonna say anything that's only gonna benefit me,
Yeah.
which I'm like, what? Okay,
Very,
that's so
we love
sweet,
a principled MMC.
right? Even if it means saving your life, no.
Yeah. The
Crazy.
Prince, I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
I
Um,
too am a fan.
and he, very just, he's very willing to not live,
Mm-hmm.
if that means if that's what it comes to.
Mm-hmm.
But he also ends up sharing with her some really big pieces of information. One of which happens in order to save him, where he lets her know that she can summon the dagger.
Yeah.
It is basically hers.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And now
that's new.
we know what the J stands for.
We do. We find that out, I think, right after
Yeah, right
they get
after.
out.
Yeah. No,
He
no,
tells
no.
her her name is.
He, yeah. It's after she summons the dagger,
Mhm.
but they feel
Before
like
they get out.
yeah, when they're like trying, when they're about to drown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we find
So,
out her name is
Jovi.
Jovi. We hate it
Yeah. Why do we hate it?
because it reminds us of Elf.
Yeah.
It's the only other time I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
It's not that I hate the name itself, but like,
Doesn't suit her.
yeah, I like Bryn suited her well enough that to go from Bryn, it feels like going from like
Badass to
to, my name is Sham. You know what I mean? It feels very like just kind of like a letdown. Like she could have had a cooler name.
yeah, yeah,
Not a bad name,
yeah.
but to go from just Bryn to Jovi, Jovi. I honestly
Yeah.
think if I were her, I would have looked at him and be like, no,
Yeah, don't call me that. I don't like
that's
it.
not it. Nope, nope.
My
Pick any
note,
other J.
my note says Jovi. I don't like it.
That's amazing.
Uh,
Not
yeah,
not a fan. Could have been any like the world was this girl's oyster in terms of
yeah,
name possibilities with a J.
yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, so she can feel for the dagger, imagine where it is, and then summon it to her, and they use it to get out.
I love that this man works calm under pressure.
Yeah,
He's like actively drowning and he's telling her how to summon a dagger for the first time.
yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
And that's it. They make it
That's
out.
where we left it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they make it out, and now they're trying to find a place to go.
I'm
The
so
end.
excited for the
Yeah,
next ones.
I know. We've been holding on.
I feel like I'm very proud of my Spidey senses so far in terms of male characters. Um,
Yeah, you really turned my opinion of
yeah,
my
you were kind of
fave.
a fan, but I also feel you're influenced by the fact that you have another love of your life named Kai.
Yeah,
And, you know,
I'm soft for Kai's.
you're just very soft for Kai's and will
Hmm.
just,
When I tell you how many Kai's I've read, like, because
what is it?
my sports romance also has a Malachi who's called
Who
Kai.
who decided that this was like the name? Like, did this end up on like hottest baby names of all time? Like, why?
No, it's so weird.
Why?
Yeah, but there's quite a
It's
few.
it's it's good, right?
Yeah,
Like, I don't hate the name Kai,
yeah,
but if I personally, personally, if
yeah,
I were writing a novel, fiction, otherwise, I would maybe refrain from such a highly popular. I feel
yeah.
like it would
Already
be like me
used.
being,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, okay, my main character's name is Zayden.
Well, funny thing is Reese, they call him
Right.
Reese. There's also multiple Reeses. Like, come on, people.
Like we can
It's not
imagine entire worlds, but we have a hard time choosing other names.
right,
Like
right,
we've got unique magic systems.
right,
We've got like
right.
we've got creativity out the wazoo,
I
but
know.
somewhere there's a list of like you can only choose from these names. I do like, quick side note, I do like the name Peyton.
Yes.
See, I think that's cool. And
It's
I
a cute
saw
name.
that the author, Powerless, said that she had someone write in saying, I would love to see an FMC with my name, Peyton.
I love that.
Isn't that cool? And she used it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she
Shout out
saw
Lauren.
it, someone asked for it
Yeah.
and she
Shout out
gave.
Lauren Roberts.
Yeah, love that. I'm also
Yeah.
reading Reckless, everyone. So maybe
Yeah.
someday we'll touch on that one.
Well, maybe when we're done with the series, we can do just a an overall like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's talk about it.
I think we should briefly talk about other things we're exploring, talking about,
Mm-hmm.
like other books,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. Well, your current read is Reckless.
Yeah,
My
Red Powerless, Now and
yeah.
Reckless.
This is what I'm reading right now. Say You Swear.
Say You
It's
Swear. I
a
haven't heard of that
it's
one.
a sports romance. Football.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, the footy balls.
Yeah, and the Fitty Bells. But
We've also talked about, we could do a nice little fourth wing situation, but only once we're so sad and we're like still years out from our next book
yeah.
from that series.
Mm-hmm. The um what do you call them? The graphic audios are coming out soon though.
So excited.
For Onyx Storm. Yeah.
So excited. That'll be
So
very fun. That'll be nice. And yeah, there's a couple others we've talked about doing, but there's so much. I also, like you said, have not read Akatar.
mm-hmm.
Really to get into that soon. I've not read Throne of Glass, so
Current
we've got some options.
Yeah, currently in the middle of Throne and Glass. So I didn't like the second book.
I think I've heard a lot of people say that. Second
I
isn't.
thought, yeah, I thought it was boring.
Well, maybe we'll talk about it. We'll see. But other than
Six
that, I think what next time will be 11 through 20.
works for me.
It's gonna be hard to read ahead. I'm not read ahead. I'm enjoying
I know.
this.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
your FMCs.